So today we're going to start and talk about circle graphs. Okay. Circle graphs is a way to represent data and remember, data is just a set of numbers that they've gathered either from a survey, totals, things like that. That's where they're going to get data from, okay? All right. There's two ways we're going to talk about to make a circle graph. Okay? The first one we're going to be using are percentages. Okay? So we're going to use our percentage. And we've already dealt with percentage. Okay? Somebody remind me, how do you change a fraction to a percent? Bree? Okay, well, how do I get decimals from a fraction? I can put it over 100 and then change in the hundredth position. What else? So multiply, but divide. So I could divide, okay? All right, so what you're going to have to do, the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find the total of all the data. Now, how would you find the total of all data? You're going to have to add it up. So I'm going to go over here and put in parentheses, you're going to have to add. Okay, that's how you're going to find the total. Now, on a lot of your worksheets, they're going to go ahead and give you the total. Sometimes they won't. Okay, so that's why I'm just going to go ahead and write it up here. You have to find the total. If they give it to you, do you have to find it? No, okay, because it's already given to you. But if they don't give it to you, you do have to find the total. Second, you want to make a fraction of each set of data to the whole. And so when you make your fraction, the data for that set is going to be on top and the total is going to be on the bottom. And we're going to go through an example in a minute. And some of this will make a little bit more sense when we're able to look at it with a problem, okay? Number 3, now you're going to divide and find percent. Now, when we divide, we get a decimal. So is that my percent? No. That means I have to move my decimal point over 2 places to make my percent, correct? Okay. Yes, sir. It should be an F, but my device is not. It's hanging up some. Now you're going to section off the circle by the percentages. Like I said, we're going to talk about these, okay? Oh, section off, sorry. Section off the circle by the percentages. Sorry, I left the F off, didn't I? All right, so here's my example. For some reason, we did colors, okay? Blue is 34. Green is 16. Yellow is 20. And red is 10. Okay? Hey, Zach, will you do me a favor real quick? Will you hand these out? Try and hand this type of calculator to everybody as much as possible. Okay? All right, Zach, sending you out a calculator. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to find the total of all of the totals that you sectioned off. Yes, sir. What do you think it is? No, not 60. What do you think? 80. Okay? And I'm handing out calculators, so some of you that don't have it, you're getting one. So all you do is add them up. 34 plus 16 plus 20 plus 10. Okay? Now, what was the second thing I told you on your paper to do? No, there was number 2. Make a fraction. So what you're going to do on the blue is you're going to put 34 over 80. What it's going to do? So 16 now is going to look like what? 16 over 80. 20 is going to look like 20 over 80. 10 is going to look like 10 over 80. So you're just taking that number from that data and putting it over your total. Third thing says you're going to divide and change to a percent. So right here in your calculator, you're going to divide 34 divided by 80. And your calculator is going to get a what? It's going to be a decimal. So then we have to move the decimal how many places to make a percent? 2 places. So what did you get? 42? Okay, let's round to a whole number. So if I round 42 point whatever to a whole number, is it going to be 42 or 43? It's going to be 43? Okay, so I'm going to erase that and put 43 here. Yes, you may. What if I do 16 divided by 80 and change that to a percent? Okay, do me a favor. Open it and don't just bear it right there. Stop. That way when they come in and out, we don't have to get up. 20% or 22%? What'd you say? 0.2 and that was it? Okay. So 16 divided, okay, yep, that would be right. All right, what's 20 divided by 80? 25%. And what's 10 divided by 80 as a percent? 8%? 0.125 is what I got. So if I change it to a decimal, it'd be 13%, correct? Okay. Now, if I add these up, this should give me 100%. So add it up. So 43 plus 20 plus 25 plus 13. I think we're going to have 101 when we get done. So at some point, we've rounded probably different somewhere. What did you get for this one up here when you divide it? 0.42. What? 425. Okay, so that one would look good. What was this one as a decimal? Was 0.2? Okay, this one 0.25. This one 0.125. All right. And the problem was we rounded up here and we rounded up here, which threw us 1 over. All right. So what you may want to do is if you round up on 1, round down on 1, it really doesn't matter, but it should add up to be 100%. If you're 101, you're okay. All right. Now we're going to look at, do you guys have those percentages wrote down? Because I'm going to a new page, so I'll have to call those back from you. All right, so now I'm going to give me a circle. Yeah, draw a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not worried about it. Okay, mine just looks really, really bad, so, okay.
Destiny White, please come to the office. Destiny White, please come to the office.
Big, because you're going to be putting stuff in there. Now, do I want it big as like a whole page? No. Maybe about half a page or a quarter of a page. I don't want a little circle like this. I don't want a little circle like that. Okay? Alright. Now listen. This total circle represents the whole total of 80. Okay? The percentage is 100. Okay? That covers 100% of that circle. Now, everything you do, okay, is going to come from a middle point somewhere. Now, let's just pretend for a minute. I'm going to draw this yellow line. Maybe. No, you don't have to. If I draw that yellow line, what did I just do to that circle? Cut it in half. So what percent is this half? 50%. So this half is, okay, what if I cut it in half again? Okay, so I'm just doing the yellow so I kind of have a way to start and measure something, okay? Now, we said that blue was what, 42%? Green. Green was 20%. Yellow was 25%. And then red was 13%. All right. Now, I'm going to start with the biggest one, 42. Everybody agreed that this half was 50, right? So we kind of have to guess where we think 42 might be. Okay? So, I might say, from there, here, this might represent my blue. 42%. Everybody see how I come up with 42% on there? Because we already know what half is. So I'm using that to kind of guide where I think 42 might be. Is that going to be exact? No. Okay? But it gives you an idea that blue is going to be that big.
So, like this.
Well, it needs to look like, if you draw me a circle, and you said, you come in here and go, oh, well, right here's blue, and right here's red, and here's yellow, and there's green. Do you think I'm going to give you credit for that? No. Because your blue area should be much larger than any of the other areas, okay? So it has to be similar. It don't have to be exactly like mine, okay? But it does need to represent as true to the data as you can, okay? Now, so you've already done the blue. Now we're going to look at green. Well, actually, let's look at yellow. Yellow is what? 25%. And did we not say one of these sections right here is 25%? Yeah, that was the fourth, right? So we're going to go ahead and label him as yellow. Because there's 25% of that circle. Yes. Right here? Well, that's going to probably be 42 to 50. That's only going to be 8%. Okay, so I'm going to have to go over just a little bit more, right? So let's look here at the green. That's 20%, right? Does everybody agree that this right here is 25%? So I'm not going to go quite up to that line, right? True? Okay, so this part right here would be green. And so what part would this be left? Red. And you need to put your percents in there. Okay. Everybody see what I did? Oh, was it 40? It was 43. Sorry. It is. It's just a little bit of work. Okay. It's not bad. Alright. Now, that was the first way you can do a circle graph. Now we've got the second way. This is going to be using degrees. Okay? And degrees is the angle of measurement. Okay? You're going to kind of set it up the same way as what you just did. Well, I mean, you're continuing on. So if you've got room at the bottom or the back, you're fine. First, again, you want to find the total. And again, we're doing that by adding the totals. Step 2, you're making a fraction. Of the data over the total. So nothing's changed yet. Those first 2 steps that we had on the other one, right? This time, you're going to divide and multiply by 360. You did. We've just changed right now. We just changed one step. Instead of dividing and making it a percent, we're now dividing and multiplying it by 360, which is going to force my degrees. Okay? No. This degrees is dealing with angle measurements. And then 4, you're going to graph by the degrees. Now, one thing you need to remember, a circle has 360 degrees. Hence, that's what we multiplied by. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, I'll ask you, on certain things, I'll ask you to do it one way and then another way. Yes. So you'll practice both. Okay? All right. So now we're still going to use that same data we used a minute ago. Blue was 34. Green was 16. Yellow was 20. And red is 10. No, blue was 43%. But I'm using my original data because I'm doing percents now, okay? Yes, I would because it's a different way of doing it, in fact. Now, my first one, I got a total, so we already kind of know the total because we did it a minute ago. We said the total was 80, correct? And step 2 was the same. I'm going to take 34 and put it over 80. I'm going to take 16 and put it over 80. 20 over 80. And 10 over 80. Now, step 3 was a little different. This time I'm going to actually divide these numbers. So 34 divided by 80, and then I'm going to multiply it by 360. So what did you get, Austin? 153 degrees. Put that little dot there, the little circle above, okay? So you'll know it's degrees. All right, Brian, what's the second one? What? Yes. Yes. JD, do you have the second one? 72 degrees. Kendall, do you have the third one? Okay, do it real quick and get the third one. And Austin, you can get the fourth one since you thought that was so funny. Now, when you divide it, but times it by 360. 90. And Austin, what'd you get? $45? I don't think you get 45. Is that what you got? Oh, it is. It is. Yep, sorry. All right. So now, Now we're going to our circle again. Okay, I'm going to see if I can pull up a protractor. No, hold on. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I wanted, but that's what I want. Alright, so now I've got my protractor. Now I'm going to let you guys use protractors, okay? And I wanted to kind of talk about this. Now, this straight line down here at the bottom helps you make your line straight, okay? It doesn't matter if you want to do a straight line up and down, it's fine, okay? Now, if you go from here being 0, you're going to use the inside. Okay, if you use over here being 0, then you're going to use the outside number. See how they're different? Okay, none. It just depends on if you go from left to right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make a straight, I want to use my circle, and I've got to start from somewhere with a straight line. I don't care where, okay? I always like doing a horizontal line of some kind, so I'm going to draw my line right there. And that's going to be where I start my measurements. Somebody call off those measurements. Blue was 153. Green was yellow. And red. Now, all those are degrees. So now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to pull up my protractor. Now, I'm going to put that little center circle right there where my pencil was, and I'm going to try and line that straight line up on that 0 bar, right? Okay, so now, this part is my 0, so I'm going to use the inside measurements. So I want to go to 153. Well, here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, and I keep going. Over here's 150. Then you're going to use these little lines up here to do 153. Okay, so he's going to be about right in here, correct? So I'm just going to put a little dot there, okay? Then I want to use my protractor as a straight edge and connect that point to this one. Now I can't because it's not a physical object I can put on there. So this measures 153, so this is my blue area. Okay, let me see what I did. Okay, now, from my blue area, I'm going to take this protractor, and I'm going to rotate him. And I'm going to slide it where that line is, that bottom line right there. See how I measured that line? Let me see what I did. Now, green is 72. So if I'm starting here, I'm going to use the inside again. There's 0. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 72. It's going to be somewhere right in here, right? Okay, so I have to move my protractor. You're going to use it as a straight edge, though. That's probably a little off. But there's your green at 72%. Now, what are you going to do with my protractor now? I'm going to rotate him again, if I can get him up here. And I'm going to rotate it through the straight line. Glaze over. Oh, I want to go the other way, sorry. And now I'm going to go 90 degrees, right? Well, 90 is right here. Okay? So now I want to move my protractor out of the way again. Draw my line. I was a little off. Sorry about that. You'll have a straight edge, so yours will be good. And then what's the rest left? And now we can check that to make sure that we're good. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to rotate him a little bit. Oh, I didn't. And we need to check just to make sure. I'm a little off right there. But if you remember, this line was a little off here when I drew it free-handed. Okay? And that ends up being my 45. Okay? Now, based upon those graphs, sometimes then they'll ask you questions. What color was represented the most? Blue. Why? Because it had the largest degree or percent and it had the largest area. What was the smallest? Red. Okay? Were there two that were very close in measurements? What? Okay. Was there one number that represented a quarter of the percent of data? What? Not 45. Yellow, because it was 25%. Okay? Let's look back here. I want another one here. I don't know if you guys can read this or not, so I'm going to read it to you. It's kind of small. It says, Rock Restaurant served a sample of customers on their favorite food. They made a pie graph with the survey results. Read the pie graph and answer the questions. All right, so they kind of put pictures in there with us. A hamburger, hot dog, chicken, pizza, and a sandwich. First question says, what is the most favorite food among the customers? Austin? Hot dog, because it was 30 of them, correct? How many customers liked fried chicken? 20. What is the least favorite food? Sandwich. How many customers voted for burger as their favorite? 25. How many customers participated in the survey? How would you, but we can figure it out. You add them all together. So very quickly, add those together.
I got 95.
95 people. Okay. Let's look at the second one. It said 108 people were surveyed on their favorite breakfast. The pie graph is made according to the responses. Use the pie graph and answer the questions. First question says, how many people like to eat cereal for breakfast? 2 nights. Now, how am I going to take 2 nights and figure out how many people that were? So 9. 2 over 9. I'm going to divide it. And how many people were surveyed? How many people were surveyed? Can y'all remember? 108. So take your 2 over 9 and divide it. So 2 divided by 9 and times it by 108. Times it by 108. 24. Now, what if you have 24.2? Can 24.2 people like cereal? No. So you're going to use your whole number. So 24 people liked cereal. Which food got half the number of votes of a bagel? Bagel is 1/9. If I had to look, I'd probably say eggs. Hash browns was 1/9 as well, so they're the same. How many people would like to have toast? How many? Not 1/6. How many people? So figure it out. 1 divided by 6 times 108. 18? All right, look at question number 4. It says, how many people did not vote for pancakes? I could, but could I do this? I could I figure out how many people liked pancakes as people and then subtract it from 108 instead of dealing with a fraction? So 1 divided by 3 times 108. Okay, so 36 people liked pancakes. How many people did not like pancakes? So 108 divided by 36. 72. No, subtract it. The first time you got to multiply it to get figure out how many people like your pancakes. All right. Which morning meal is the favorite choice of 18 people from the survey? No, pancakes you just now told me was 36. Was it the bagel? I think we've already figured it out, didn't we? It was toast. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So I'm going to